What's going on, everyone? So, the Andrew Wiggins to the Lakers hype train continues. Now, look, I would love to have Andrew Wiggins. He absolutely, undoubtedly is the type of player that the Lakers desperately need, right? An athletic, versatile, defensive, two-way type of wing that could slot in, 2 through 4 on many occasions, right? Probably best in that 2-3 range, but if you were to go small ball, maybe put like LeBron at the 5, or you could have Wiggins at the 4, right? Like his versatility, particularly on the defensive side, his ability to switch and defend 1 through 5 on many occasions, right? Like that is the type of player the Lakers really need. Now, my biggest knock, and I've talked about Andrew Wiggins before, my biggest kind of knock and concern with Andrew Wiggins is just his contract. Right. He's getting paid pretty hefty, which the Lakers would have to go and work out a deal. That's not counting would, the Miami Heat even trade Andrew Wiggins to the Lakers. Right. Got to keep in mind, Pat Riley still is not over the whole LeBron James leaving thing. So would you be able to work that out, or would it have to be something where maybe you're a third team that you're landing Andrew Wiggins, but Miami is landing this other player or whatever, and Andrew Wiggins is going out in the trade, right? If Miami lands, a Kevin Durant, right? Maybe they're sending out Andrew Wiggins, and maybe, the Suns just like Rui Hachimura better, right? And they're like, man, he could slot in beautifully at the 4 for us alongside, Nick Richards or something. I don't know. Just kind of spitballing here. But, again, let's say you can get past the Miami trade part. Sure, perfect. He's still going to be owed $28.2 million, which means the Lakers have to send out basically $29 to $30 million, as well as he has a player option for $30 million the next season, which he's probably opted into, right? So, again, that's pretty hefty, pretty pricey for basically your fourth option, right? I mean, you got to figure, unless the Lakers are sending out Austin Reeves in that trade, which I don't believe that they will, right? You're talking, Luka, LeBron, Austin Reeves, and then Andrew Wiggins as your fourth option. Now, Andrew Wiggins as your fourth option, you're probably a very good, if not great, basketball team. Andrew Wiggins is probably in that third to fourth option, right? You look at him on a team like the Golden State Warriors, right? I mean, he won a championship essentially as the second option. I mean, he was so good in that run. I mean, there were talks about him winning finals MVP, right? And so, he's a guy that on any given night, any given stretch, any given moment could be your second best guy, but he's probably best in that third option role where he's slotted in that place. A guy that could easily slot in your 3 alongside Luka, Austin Reeves, and then you could have a Andrew Wiggins with LeBron James, and then go get that center, right? Can you go get a Daniel Gafford or something like that? Problem is, what are you trading to get Andrew Wiggins, right? Starting with Rui Hachimura, because Rui Hachimura is $18 million. So you're doing Rui Hachimura, maybe you're sending Gabe Vincent back to him, and then a Shake Milton, right? Because Shake Milton's on a non-guaranteed, so they could just waive him and then you're fine, right? Are you sending out a Dalton Connect in that trade, right? So maybe it's Gabe Vincent, Dalton Connect, and a Rui Hachimura for an Andrew Wiggins. Is that worth landing an Andrew Wiggins? Maybe, maybe not. Does Miami just want the cap relief, right? So maybe you could look at it and go okay, we'll give you Rui Hachimura, and we'll give you Gabe Vincent. Gabe Vincent was excellent for you. He could slot in, and a guy that you really need at the guard position, slot alongside Tyler Hero. Boom, we'll give you Gabe Vincent back. We'll give you Rui Hachimura, who can start alongside Bam Adebayo for you, and, Khalil Ware, right? There you go, right? Maybe that's something, and it's hey, Andrew Wiggins is going to opt into his $30 million, so would you rather have that $30 million fall off the books, or would you rather have Andrew Wiggins as, a $30 million cap hit next season, right? Take your pick. Right. So I do think it just depends. It also depends on what direction does Miami go. Does Miami kind of want to clear the deck, clean things up and kind of, pivot into, more of a rebuild, right? Or do they want to try to contend and get back to being one of the top teams in the East again? I don't know, right? We'll see. There's kind of talks about them either way. I just don't think they have the assets to go and get that. So I think more likely than not, at some point, they're probably going to look to bottom out. Which, if that ends up being the case, then I do think Andrew Wiggins makes a lot of sense. I do think you have a real opportunity. I do think that there'll be other teams looking to go and acquire him, which, the more teams, the worse the spot that the Lakers are in. But if you can land Andrew Wiggins, I do think you do get Andrew Wiggins. Problem is, again, what is the cost? right? And sending out 30 million, that means you're very limited on the players and assets that you now have in order to go and acquire a guy. Now, if you're able to keep your first, and like if you could do Rui, Gabe Vincent, and Shake Milton plus like 2 pick swaps or something, right? Sure. I would do that because you still keep your first, you'd still have 2 pick swaps, and you'd have Dalton Connect, right? If you don't have to overpay for him, perfect. And the argument that you'd have if you're the Lakers is like, okay, well, one, we're helping you clear off almost 60 million, literally $59 million. We would help you clear off your books, right? So you're helping them do that. And then 2, it's like, we're giving you, kind of pick swaps for doing the trade, right? For like helping us out, right? So I think that would be something that maybe would be mutually beneficial depending on what they want to do. Well, you're also hearing, again, like there was a little buzz, Andrew Wiggins, maybe, right? Now you've heard several people bring up and mention like, hey, Andrew Wiggins, keep an eye on Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins might be the place. I mean, even Jovan Buha recently talked about, Andrew Wiggins kind of checks a lot of boxes, right? He's a guy, kind of look out for that the Lakers could maybe go and trade and acquire and fit those boxes. Personally, if the Lakers were to land Andrew Wiggins, this should just be personally, I'd look to trade Austin Reeves for one, right? Because I think I would prefer to slot Andrew Wiggins as your 2 because he's more than capable of playing your 2, right? And then can you turn Austin Reeves into another 2-way wing that could slot in at the 3? I would just prefer, personally, and again, this is just me, because I think Andrew Wiggins can give you a lot of the same stuff that Austin Reeves gives you. Right? He's not as good as a playmaker and whatnot, but he gives you the scoring, he gives you the rebound, he gives you the self-creation, right? He could be a swing man, but he gives you the defense. Right? Like, what sounds better? A Luka Doncic, Andrew Wiggins, and like a Cameron Johnson with a LeBron James and a Nick Claxton, because you're able to get Nick Claxton and Cam Johnson because you're trading Austin Reeves, than a Luka, Reeves, Wiggins, LeBron, and maybe like a Gafford, right? Because if you're not trading Austin Reeves, it makes it a lot harder to go trade for another $27 million contract, right? Like, I would prefer that switchable, versatile, defensive, 3 and D lineup. Andrew Wiggins slotted alongside Luka and LeBron as your creators, and then go get a Cam Johnson and a Nick Claxton, and you're basically revamping the entire roster, and you're trading basically everybody, right? Trading Kleba and Connect and Austin Reeves, and then whatever else you have to, like, if you could work something like that out to where, again, basically you're selling the farm, then I'd prefer something like that. I'm not quite sure off the top of my head if you could get Cam Johnson and Nick Claxton, but you get my point, right? Point is, can you turn Austin Reeves into, maybe you're looking at a Houston trade, right? I would just prefer to do something along those lines to where Andrew Wiggins is now slotted in as your 2. Now, maybe you could still keep Austin Reeves and have him come off the bench. I don't know if Austin Reeves would be open to that. And also, you're probably going to have to pay Austin Reeves $30+ million. Are you going to pay him $30+ million to be your 6th man? So again, that's my problem. Like, Andrew Wiggins, again, as your 4th option, I think would be fantastic, right? I think it would really put you in a great spot, but it's just, you still need to solve your center position. Now, granted, look, the Lakers could you go get a Clint Capella and a, Jericho Sims or a Brook Lopez, right? Would LeBron be willing, if you go trade for an Andrew Wiggins, be like, okay, like, in order to keep Austin Reeves, get an Andrew Wiggins, right? I'll now take that so we can free up our full mid-level exception, so we can maybe go get a Bruce Brown and a Clint Capella, right? Because the full mid-level exception is, I think, just under around 14 million, something like that, 13 and some change, right? So maybe you could get, a Bruce Brown for 10 million and a Clint Capella for 4 million, right? Now you got both of those guys. You got those guys slotted in. Go get a Jericho Sims on a vet minimum. Keep Jackson Hayes. Maybe take a flyer on a DeAnthony Melton. Boom, now you're in business, right? Maybe your starting 5 is at that point. I mean, I'd still like Bruce Brown, but in your starter. But you could go Luka, Reeves, Wiggins, LeBron, and Capella. And then if you wanted to go a more defensive unit, you could go Luka with Bruce Brown, Andrew Wiggins, LeBron James and Clint Capella. And then off your bench, you could have like a DeAnthony Melton, Bruce Brown, right? With Brook Lopez is like kind of your core 8. Bronny James, can he take a step for a year, right? If you don't trade Dalton Knecht, then, Dalton Knecht, can he take a step in year 2, right? Like, so point is like, if you can get Wiggins, I think you get Wiggins. I do have my concerns, but he's still young enough. He'll be 31 next February. So basically by the come next trade deadline, he'll be 31. So still young enough to where you could have him for the next handful of years, right? Even after this contract, you could look to give him a new contract because he'll be 31 going to be 32, probably play till he's 35. You'll give him a 3-year, whatever, $45 million contract because I don't think you're paying him $30 million again, especially if he's really good for you. But he's also a guy that can be that ceiling raiser, be that versatile defensive piece, right? Be that legit 3-and-D guy and just have the impact that the Lakers will be looking for, right? If you're the Lakers and you can pull that off, I think you do it. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So enjoy these types of videos. I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.